Alright, the last Hellraiser film. I bet this one's gonna take us out with a bang! And it's a found footage film. That's just great. Actually, most of the film is shot traditionally, with only a couple of scenes being shot this way as a means to advance the story along. But given the history of this particular installment, it wouldn't have surprised me if found footage was what they went with. The film was shot in a matter of weeks, literally rushed into production because Dimension was about to lose the rights to the franchise. They were trying to do the inevitable remake, but due to a legal obligation, it was either make another entry quick or lose out. Doug Bradley, the actor who played Pinhead in all of the previous installments, actually released a statement prior to the film's release, basically wishing the filmmakers well, but obviously declining the role because of disagreements with the script. This one probably gets the most backlash from fans just because Doug Bradley chose not to participate. That's funny to me because aside from that, it has more in common with the original Hellraiser than any of the later installments. Two rebellious kids, both from wealthy families, decide to leave town and head to Mexico. Right from the opening scene, these kids are a couple of real shitheads. One of them flat out reveals as he's being videotaped that he fully intends to cheat on his girlfriend with a hooker. They get to Mexico, and the first thing they do is hit on one of the local girls. Nico ends up screwing her in a bathroom stall, where he murders her. There's no explanation for why he does this. The movie completely expects us to suspend our disbelief. There are a couple of troublemakers, I get that, but there's nothing to suggest that this guy would actually murder someone. Rather than go to the cops, they choose to go to another bar, where a homeless man who looks kind of like the character from the first movie gives them the lament configuration. If you've seen any of the previous films, you know what happens. Pinhead comes to take Nico, and Steven goes to have sex with a hooker, killing her also. Again, the film gives us no reason for it. I guess we're supposed to assume the box is making him do it, but this was never a characteristic of the box in prior films. Anyway, the mattress soaks up the hooker's blood, bringing Nico back to life, and of course he forces Steven to feed him body so he can escape the Cenobites and come back to the real world. In the meantime, both of the boys' families are mourning the deaths of their sons, figuring them for dead thanks to found footage. I don't know how the family got a hold of the footage, as once again, it's never explained. Of course. Steven makes his way back to the home, where all kinds of weird crap happens. I won't spoil the ending, but if you go back to that first film, you can pretty much figure it out. As the last installment to the series, it was nice that it at least tries to go back to what it started out as. The original movie was never about Pinhead, but about escaping a world of torture, and the lengths one would go to do it. Stephen Smith Collins plays Pinhead. I don't mean to be biased, but since I'm not as big of a fan as, say, Freddy, I guess it didn't bother me as much. And frankly, I'm surprised he didn't get recast a lot sooner, especially considering 5 of the 9 films went direct-to-video. Maybe it sticks out a lot more given that this was the only film in the series to recast the main villain, and it's obvious they did so. Collins, for some reason, sticks out a lot more, if that makes sense. I thought he was okay as Pinhead, but at this point, the only option the guy really had was to try his best to imitate Doug Bradley. He doesn't have that much screen time, but again, I can understand if that's what upset the fans. I really didn't think it was that bad of a movie, but there is a definite feeling that it was rushed. It moves incredibly fast, which is a good thing. Some of these movies can run at a snail's pace because of all the trippy crap they put you through, and it feels like a true sequel. This one gets 2 Pinhead twins. Now, my thoughts on the Hellraiser franchise. As a horror series, this one's really interesting. The first movie blended fantasy and goth horror in a way that hadn't been seen before, in a decade that was oversaturated with typical slasher villains. From there, the installments played out more like an anthology series. Each film set of characters has their own motives for opening the puzzle box, and when we get to the direct-to-video installments, the series goes off on a tangent and tries something new. Even though most of the protagonists are completely unlikable and deserve what they get, they're still very developed characters, and that's saying something. How many horror films take the time to do that? Of course, there are plenty of awesome effects work to be seen in the first 2 films. The special effects and the makeup are the main reasons to check them out. It's hard to pick just one to stick with because each one's a different experience. None of them are masterpieces, but if you want something a little different and you've already seen all the Saws, Jasons, Freddys, Chuckies, and Halloweens a gazillion times, you might want to check these out. Tune in tomorrow and we'll blitz through another franchise.
Hey, give me the gun, son. Be careful, Stephen is loaded.
Oh.